All right, hey collective. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this reading. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same deck from the Emperor's reading. Might pull out another one for reference, but one of the most significant understandings that I've come to in my research and just from the direction of the divine and the downloads that I got was just to kind of look into the Viking era a bit more, and that may be where a lot of people are getting their karmics from that lifetime. And in that lifetime, you may have been a Viking. You may have plundered and pillaged and or you didn't want to work with them, after you plundered and pillaged, or, however it is. Some people, you may have been the opposite sex, and because you were moving around, just plundering and pillaging, you may have left some people heartbroken, with children, just all kinds of things. So some people are holding on to animosity and anger from from those things, and there's nothing we can do about that, right? That was their lesson this lifetime. That was their contract. That's what some people don't realize. It's like yours was to understand what you understand or understood, come to understand. Yep, to find balance in your emotions, right? So we were talking about spiritual auditing, right? Spiritual auditing is a review of your strengths, right? Your spiritual strengths. It helps to identify somebody's temperament, and it evaluates one's virtue. So everything spiritual affects the human spirit, right? As above, so below, right? We've heard of that before. And virtue is all about someone being morally good. So it's basically someone who's trying to, or people were trying to, trying to spiritually attack you in that way, like spiritually take you to court and say you were this and say you were that and get you condemned spiritually for being a certain type of way that you weren't. And you had to show that through, doing certain things that were spiritually and morally good. And you were, it's about being honest and courageous, and knowing when, finding the right temperament, the right balance, knowing when to do that, knowing when to hold those energies and when, to let go of it. So, let's see. They also were doing, so the way that they were using the spell work was trying to do mind control, right? But I'll get to that in just a second. So virtue, it's honesty, courage, compassion, generosity, fidelity, integrity, fairness, self-control, and prudence. Those are all examples of virtues. And then it says virtues are developed through learning and through practice. So you had to learn these things, and then you had to apply them correctly into your life. Now, the way they were trying to do spiritual work was through mind control. So it was basically different cults and groups and organizations or whatever, bodies of people in general, whether it be your family or whether it be like a business group, past employees who just didn't like you. It could be 3 people in the office who don't like you, what I mean? Like, because you excel. It could be more than that. They could, speak ill of you around the office, and it become the whole entire office, except for, a handful of people that actually know you. But then it makes them look at you like, well, why are these people all against you? Because they don't carry the same jealous, envious kind of energy. They don't see it. Like, they see you shining. They don't envy it. So they don't understand why other people do. And that's often a part of, people who have emotionally healed certain parts and certain aspects of thinking and, different mind control that has helped them to be able to see things differently. So they're confused. But anyway, mind control techniques, it's all psychology, okay? So it's isolation from sources of information and former associates, strict regimens that require absolute obedience and humility, social pressures and rewards for our cooperation, and then physical and psychological punishments for non-cooperation. And they say that mind control has been discussed in relation to many issues, including religion, politics, prisoners of war, and cults. Okay, and so it's basically taking away someone's ability to think independently or critically, and to change their values, beliefs, and attitudes. And so that's what they wanted to do: change your values, beliefs, and attitudes, and control the way you handled yourself, the way you went around doing things in life. So, the spiritual auditing, they called for this by the way that the way it got so many people in trouble spiritually at this point is because they called other people in to do this, because they said they claimed to these other people that it would work. But people should not want to be in on doing this type of thing, because they should be focused on their own spiritual auditing of oneself. And see, that's the thing that was different about the collective that other people weren't doing. The collective was already spiritually auditing themselves. Okay, so when you get into the dark night of a soul, that's what starts happening. You start to spiritually audit yourself. You start to think about the way you treated other people, how your past has looked. You start to face all of those things and say, you know, I have some generational curses and I have some healing I need to do, and blah, 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 blah. You start to really see it, right? And it's all about continuing to go forward in that spiritual auditing, you know, balancing that energy out for yourself, right? And that was already happening. One of the things that I got at the end of the download that I feel like is supposed to go here at the beginning is that, because I've been getting the download all morning. Once you heal and grow from something, you can't be tasked with that same test again. You'll always know, because it's a lesson. Like, you learned something in that created a change in oneself, in your beliefs, values, and attitude that was the opposite of the psychological techniques that they use, the mind control. Let's think about it. They did this with people right in front of us, though, right? They did this with Justin Bieber. They did this with, also with, Britney Spears, right? She was a prisoner in her own home. They made her feel bankrupt. And she was like one of the richest people on the planet, right? They made her feel homeless. But she literally could not leave her house. But that didn't probably, like, and now that's the only place that she knows. So she really doesn't even probably feel, you know, the same. It gives you, okay. So the effects that this mind control can have on a person or a group, because these people don't realize that it's about to come back to them, or they have already realized that. It's one or the other. So there's a mix of emotions within the groups. But it can result in a loss of autonomy. So mind control can cause people to lose their personal power, their confidence, and their ability to make their own choices. It can put them into a destabilized reality. So mind control can alter a person's perception of reality, making them more susceptible to manipulation, and it can cause complex trauma. So mind control can lead to complex trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD. So complex. And it can lead to self-destructive behavior. So mind control can lead people to engage in dangerous behaviors that can be harmful to themselves. And it can result in emotional exploitation, which is mind control often involves emotional manipulation and exploitation, such as telling someone they are too sensitive or crazy. So basically, it's the result of, those are the things that are the result of how they, you know, the processes and things that they do. And they wanted you to fall, you know, prey to this through, so, because what I understand is that you had already been through your dark night of soul, and they were basically, so this is the thing. The reason why there's nothing they can do right now is just simply because they were trying to do a double jeopardy. But here's the problem with that. It looks like it's either your family or past coworkers had already gone in, it said specifically the download was the family and business partners had already done the double jeopardy, right? So you had went through your dark night of the soul, and at the same time, your friends and your family were trying to put you through a double jeopardy, right? Then when that didn't work, they went and enlisted someone that they felt could come in as a romantic partner to do it. That's didn't work because they were already in a stance of double jeopardy. If you've been through your dark night of the soul and then someone else does, that's double jeopardy right there. So that second time coming in, it's kind of like, no. So that's why this third time when the lover went and tried to get all of these people to back it, the reason why it didn't work still is because that was beyond double jeopardy. So the double jeopardy was proven. It was just they were doing it like the combination. They were trying. It was basically 4 times within a short span of time. So they did it like they tried to. You were doing your dark night of the soul work, and then the family member and the business partners or business partners tried to put you through it. So you were already in the double jeopardy situation. Then when that didn't work, they saw that was coming undone. They went and got someone else to start another one as that was coming undone. They were trying to get ahead of themselves, and that's why they said they moved too fast. And then that lover, saying that it wasn't working, moved too fast and went and tried to get another group. And that's where they went off balance. That's where everybody lost, because there was too much going on. That's why they were saying it was too much, because it was kind of like they weren't even letting the cycles complete before they would try to start another one. And that's how they ended up messing themselves up. It's kind of one of those things like when lottery winners, like, who go broke, you know, that's a cycle and a test, right? You were in that already when they tried to put you in that. So you were quick to respond because it felt like double pressure, right? So that's why there's this understanding that, like, well, it happened too quick, or it's moving too fast, so it couldn't be true, is a part of their understanding. It's like, no, if you're doing it faster than it's supposed to be, so then this person's innate ability, like cat-like agility, I can't even express it any further, is going to kick in. You know, everybody has their own wow, yeah, it's a person's capability to see beyond any type of Seven of Cups and make a new beginning and really stand in this King of Cups, being emotionally confident, being in the right energy. That's what I said. It's that mind control can't overpower one's self, you know what I mean? But anyway, so the reason why they called in these other people for a large number of people, or the reason why a large number of people were going down, is because of what they were doing. Whether they understood it or not, they still knew it wasn't morally correct. They still knew that they were doing something that was wrong. They still knew that they were vibrating in the wrong energy. That's also part of it. So all of these different things that we're talking about, morals, they actually connect very clearly with morals, right? All this energy and vibration, they connect directly to your moral aspects, understandings, and values. You know what I mean? Yeah, because life had already called you directly to your dark night of the soul. Like, you had been doing your work and looking at things from the right perspective to already be in the dark night of soul. So that's where your family messed up. And they saw you in that, and they thought, oh, well, let's go and try to take them out of that. And then that didn't work. And so that's, again, it was that whole, like, attempt. It was the double jeopardy before the double jeopardy periods even ended that caused what is about to occur in your life to be such great magnitude. If now that helps you understand, it's like the linking of the time frames, and the fact that you got out of this puzzle that they can't even really understand what they were putting you through. They can't even see the cycles that you were in and when you were in them and how you overcame, because they had already started before they had started. You knew about what you were experiencing better than them, and you had already started the process of that isolation when they started their process of trying to put you in that, with your family or business person tried to put you in that double jeopardy situation. Okay, so I was watching this documentary about children. So a lot of people were not understanding how, like, you could be so innocent and you could be so, you know, how can this person be like this? Well, I was watching this documentary of children about this family. So the mother, and I'm gonna just skip to the end because that was actually a part I put in the bottom of this notes here. But the mother was, she was, you know, essayed when she was a child by her parents. And so as soon as she became an adult, she got married, and she had a big family of her own, right? Several children. I think they had like 8 children. These children lived with them until they were about 30 years old. The reason the children lived with them so long was because they did this mind control kind of thing. The children didn't know simple words like abuse, captivity. They didn't know, because they were kept in it, right? They didn't know violence, the word violence, what the word violence meant, or what the word abuse meant. And the way the parents got caught up was because they started letting them read. And I'm not laughing at that, but I'm kind of like, I wondered too, when I started to think about, like, how did they even get caught up? Oh yeah. And then I started to wonder, like, was this the way of the mom actually trying to release the children? Like, because the mother was already a victim of abuse as a child, and then she had done this to her children for 30 years upwards, you know, or downwards, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you had to have known your person's tendencies and habits and stuff like that. But, you know, probably she hadn't healed yet. So that's this, you know, sickness. And then there was another documentary that helped me to understand, like, people who have a sickness just have a sickness. They just disconnect from the part of them that makes them sick, and they don't see it too. So, but anyway, they kept these children And so they started letting the children read. And then they had given them a cell phone, I guess, because they'd be away from the home to like go to work or whatever. And they needed to, you know, ensure. But they had the older children watch them. But one of the younger children who, you know, they had let read decided to take the phone and like run out of the house and ran and called the police. Met up with the police, and the police went to the house, and they found these kids all chained to the bed, and you know, these other kids, you know, just kept to walk around the house like zombies. Those were the ones that were older, in their 30s and stuff like that. You know, so these people had never even been out into civilization. They had never been to a store. Can you imagine? Never having ever been outside your home, ever? 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 Then the mental things that they would do, this mind control, they would keep bikes and, you know, toys and stuff like that around the house, and they would just have the kids sit there and see them, be in the home every day, but not be allowed to play with the toys or ride the bikes or enjoy them in any way. So, you know, it's not like this isn't happening in lots of different ways. It's just, you know, this is one that's being brought to light, you know, through this, because now this is a means of people doing this on a different caliber, and it's actually being misused. Like this just like the other things, like the capability for this person to be a parent, you know what I mean? Yeah, and to have a husband and to be married. That was also part of the downloads that's in here too. Yeah. So they also did things like they would, this is how they would use the spell work. They also would wait until they had sent spell work to cause you to not have anything. And then they would go around and say that you were lazy, but you just didn't have the capabilities to go and do. But instead they want to call you a lazy, or because you can't take your children to, you know, an amusement park. They want to say that you're a bad parent. You know what I mean? Like they would use different things, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You sent the spell work to mess up my money, but then that's why I can't take my kids to, you know, the amusement park like I planned. And now you're petitioning that spiritually, saying I'm a bad parent and I'm not trying to do anything with them. But that's how they were kind of using the magic, you know, to kind of work in their favor, to make things look a certain way. So they would go and spread the rumors, and then do the magic, confirm that the magic had taken effect, and then they would go and tell people, oh yeah, and this person is doing this. And because of the magic having worked, you were actually looking like what they said. And it was always like, it didn't match up. Like the spell work that they were doing wasn't to affect what they were lying about. And that's why it didn't look to them, to other people, you know, like why it didn't match up to other people that they were doing the spell work until you get behind that, until the veil was lifted, which was last year on October 30th. And that's because they had gotten already to that fourth cycle, and that's when the divine had interacted. Last year on October 30th is when the divine stepped in. Said, okay, I'm going to come and sit and watch what happens on this October 30th, because there were already two cycles of this having taken place. What I understand is either somewhere around September 23rd to the 26th that this actually took place some years ago. And that's typically when they start to do their spell work too. Okay, Spirit wants me to talk about a lot of these people who are in their relationships, and so all of this came out too. And yeah, and so then to go back to that documentary of those kids who were kept captive by their parents for like up to 30 years and how they got caught, whatever. Now, when when these parents were caught, the children went into foster homes, and it just so happened that the foster homes ended up abusing them too. So that's what I'm trying to help people understand about the double jeopardy understanding. Like that's why to some people, they were caught up in that third cycle. Maybe these are some people that are looking in right now are caught up because they're in that third cycle of where like the person is just your past, romantic partner that you had some type of engagement or, involvement with, and they're looking at that one, not realizing like, well, okay, why is the family doing it? Well, the family is doing this because they were the first ones to actually start doing the spell work. It started somewhere. They had to open you up there for it to be able to be used by other people outside of you. If you were protected by your family, you wouldn't experience these things outside of it because there would be a protection, you know what I mean? But your family enjoyed using you and, vibrating off of your energy. And when they realized that things were actually still going to go in the right direction, that's when they started to try to do this double jeopardy thing, feeling as though it would kind of break you down at the knees. It's kind of like if you could imagine when, if you've, okay, so the movie that came up to mind too, that I didn't put in the notes, but I was thinking about, Jodie Foster's, and this is one of the first movies I ever seen when I was younger. Jodie Foster, it was a movie where she was RAPED. And it was like, you know those scenes in movies, like how it's graphic, but it's like you can feel the emotion, because that was the director and the producers and the actor or actress's intent, was to make sure that they conveyed the emotional experience, right? And so this is like typical of what they did here in this instance. It's that type of like, that's why they call it like bullying. That's why they're saying it's like basically someone's coming and they're, you know, they're spiritually hitting you this way, and then someone else comes in and like hits you at the knees. And you ever seen one of those scenes in a movie where someone is getting beat up by a group of people like that? Well, that's what was happening, because they wouldn't let this cycle stop for you to get in before they would entertain another group. But because they kept doing that, and they had double jeopardy kind of going twice at the same time, almost in some instances, where the overlapping was just where it was becoming too resounded in the ethers because of what it was connected to itself. So I hope people are understanding and following that. The fact of the matter is the value of the person. Oh yeah, people aren't stupid about that anymore. Yeah, people have had to surrender to that, is what it looks like. So the value of the person, it's kind of like, okay, what if this person was meant to birth someone that was going to cure some things that your children were actually going, you know what I mean? That's kind of the energy here. It's like, okay, what if the birth of this person's child that you're trying to prevent so hard is actually the child that comes in and does XYZ, which makes life better for everybody? This is the person whose child comes in, and that's by way of their own relationship with their own child, they heal autism. They can help and find cures for cancer. They can do this. You don't know what these people are actually, you know, because, and that's why it's happening to multiple. That's why, because it's not like there's one thing that's trying to be healed and corrected in the planet right now. There are multiple things at play, and all of them result around the fact of like there needing to be more love, because love really does heal. It's the compassion, it's the other energies that are right beneath love on the vibrational, you know, scale that actually help to counteract the negativity. It's the part that actually works with, and I'm just going to say with for lack of better understanding for most people who watch tarot card readings, it's the work of the two that brings in the balance and the understanding, since that was the first card out anyway. It's work of the light and the dark that brings about the understanding. That's why people are also having to surrender now too. Yeah. So another thing, yeah, life had automatically called you before. I wrote something about BPS locked up, and I want to see if I have like any notes on that, because that was some type of like trauma or something. It had something to do. Let's see. Let me Google that and see if I can figure out what that means. BPS. I can't find, but it's like basis points is what is coming up right now, and I don't think that's what it was. But anyway, but yeah, so we've already discovered and talked about the lottery winners who grow broke. So it's kind of like that same energy. It was one of those tests too. It was like, okay, you would be presented with these finances, but you would, you know, you would see it. And luckily for you, you saw it on the lower scale of where it was for you. You were put in that instance of like, oh man. And so the losing of it, because this also happens, it's like people willing to admit their failure. So the losing of it didn't really, you know, because you learned a lesson, you don't end up losing. You end up gaining more. And think about it too. If you had actually gained, would you be in the same position? And some of the positions that you're in, a lot of us are, you know, realizing like, oh, wait a minute. I actually did finish my solo mission. And I've been so stuck in my solo mission because that's my ego, 24 was on the clock, that I haven't realized that like I had actually, by accepting it in a way, was like the biggest part, the most significant part of the healing process. that needed to take place for most people to reach this butterfly stage, like to really cocoon, you know, and by taking on that responsibility of the solo journey and kind of saying, no, I'm not going to have, you know, this and that, you know, I'm just going to focus on this and like be a benefit to other people. By being that way, that's why things cocooned and blossomed the way they did. And that's why some things seem unimaginable too, because if you look at a caterpillar, the only reason why we can imagine it is because we watched it. The only reason why we can imagine a caterpillar becoming a butterfly is because we've already seen it, right? We're taught that at a very young age. There's a reason for that, but it's one of the smallest focus, right? But everybody goes through that phase of actually knowing that, and you learn it at a very young age, right? Why is that? It's all these different things that it's like, well, why did they teach us about that? You know, some things that's a part of the trickery too of spell work, is because people have to be very honest and show you what they're doing. And that's a part of the mind control of it. It's like they have to be able, you know, a trick of what was going on, you know, in front of us was that they were telling us that Brittany was crazy, but Brittany was still doing her tours. How are you letting a crazy person do tours? Oh, because the person wasn't really crazy, but we were making sure that they were manic and depressive and isolated and put into the spiritual auditing situation while put under intense stress to perform as well. Sound familiar? I'm just saying. People don't think that the people are catching on. It's like, okay, if people say, oh, well, how is this happening to so many people? Well, if people could do this to someone who had all this money and had all this power and was right in front of the whole world's eyes, and they did it to plenty of people, why couldn't they do this on a smaller scale with just a city, with just a state of people, with just a certain industry and, you know, specific geographical location, metro area, so on and so forth? Just saying. Between different groups, you know? Anyway. But the reason their offers are being declined and stuff is because of that. Now, normally you could petition the double jeopardy, like I said, but because of the way things are going. So that's why everything is being declined, and that's why it's having this domino effect. And that's what people weren't understanding. The domino effect is that when one falls, the other falls, right? So once you get it going, you can't stop it. That's also part of it that they don't want people to realize, is that there is no, how do I fix this? Yes, you can apologize. You can go to the person that you worked against with these people and apologize, and that will help. That will help overall, because of everything that you're doing is affected by your spiritual body. So spiritually, if you know that you wronged someone, the best thing is to confess. That's why the confession even came up. But it was sometimes, I think the confession was initially brought up because people wanted to atone for things. Like, people seriously wanted to atone for things. But they said, okay, well, we'll do it this way, where you give it to this person so that you can feel better by it. But what people didn't realize is that that is your capability to either go back to the person or to apologize. If that person is not here on the planet, you do have the capability to go to someone else and confess. But that's only accepted in the place of where the person is no longer existing. They used it wrong in Catholicism to try to, like, I think they were just trying to, like, monopolize, you know, this is all for, you know, entertainment purposes. But I would imagine, this is my hypothesis, my guess, my, you know, you know, unpopular opinion, you know, if you will, for entertainment purposes. Like, what if, you know, they were actually using this so that they could start these groups in different communities and hold these things over people's heads and blackmail people about these things? You know, what if this is how these cults were, you know, initially started, were through these religious groups and organizations anyway? You know, they knew about this mind control and spiritual auditing because they were gifted these things. And that's why it's like spirit has gifted other people with the value of things. You know, that was part of it too. So let me go to that, because that was actually at the beginning. Okay, so the anger from the Viking era, we've watched these people do this in front of our eyes. Britney Spears, Justin Bieber, very famous, very rich, very, you know, prominent people that we saw them do this to. You know, homelessness, even though kept in their home. You know, Justin doesn't feel like he has a place on the planet, right? He probably feels homeless. Has a huge home, though. Has all this money. He doesn't feel like his family was there for them. He's not sure if his wife can understand. He has this new baby that he has to understand and be able to create a new life and existence and, you know, for. And he's still trying. Again, I'm not going to, you know, downplay any of what's been done to each of us individually as a part of the collective. I'm just saying that that's also why this ascension is happening, is because the world needs healing on such a great scale. Somehow we have to make things right so that people can move forward with their lives. And right now, society is only in a position of wanting to condemn people. Now, yes, we should be condemning people that have continued to do this, but there are people who were innocent, who were overtaken. the collective, right? Okay, so that's what we have to fix. 4 is for the collective. These other people are being dealt with, you know, but anyway. And so once you heal and grow for something, you can't be tasked with that same test again. You always know because it's a lesson. And so that's why things aren't working when they send it to you too. The right person was listening or is listening to you. And that's also a thing that needs to be understood. That was also a part of my housekeeping, because people want to try to claim that like, oh, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I am not here. If someone thinks that I'm here to like get this YouTube fame for being a reader, no, I'm here to be a spiritual, like I'm an esoteric edifier. I have certain pieces of specific knowledge and information. I know a lot of things. Okay. And I'm not here for this, just this card reading. I'm here to help people kind of open envelopes, if you will. It's like I provide the steam. Now you lift it up and pull this out. And you can't read it. I can interpret certain words, but you get the missing ones. I'm not here to guide people. I'm just here to like, I'm here to show you that there are multiple paths. I'm not here to pick which one you go on, if that makes sense. I am here to be an esoteric edifier. You know how they say the light that lights your feet and helps you see? Well, yes, but then when you see there are multiple paths and you get to choose and I get to assist you. If you want to get into your Akashic records, I do that. So there are different things that I do as a spiritual person that is not just here on this cards, and that's why I don't offer readings. That's why I'm not, you know, overwhelmed about any type of success from, you know, these card readings and, you know, doing YouTube or, you know, being in a specific shop or, you know what I mean? I don't tie my success to any of that. I tie my success to whether or not I understand what it is that I'm even preaching enough to be able to show people how to obtain what it is that they want. Because that's what it really is about. It's about healing. Everybody should be wanting to heal because that's what really gives you everything that you desire in the innocent way. In an innocent way. And if you are innocent, you desire to maintain that, but cleanse yourself so you don't have to deal with other people. Because a lot of us are only even being tasked with certain things because of our connections. It could be familiar connection. It could be romantic connection. It could be business connection. It could be friendship connection, right? Okay. Anyway. They were trying to present something to kind of get you locked up, like spiritually get you locked up, right? Spiritually put something on you. They were also trying to present their false titles by default, like, oh, I'm married. Oh, I'm a business owner. But they weren't acknowledging the fact, like, oh, I'm married, but my husband and I have cheated on each other. But we just stick together because we on this mission over here. So it's like their marriage isn't really built on love. It's because they're in this situation to hold up appearances to do this. Right? So those are the false titles by default that they were trying to present, like, oh, this person isn't married. That's why they shouldn't have their inheritance. Well, when they started to dig deeper, okay, well, does this person deserve to be married? How were they, you know, if this person was married before, how were they in their previous marriage? Oh, they did learn the temperament. They did evaluate their virtue. You know, and their virtue was actually clear. It was the virtue of their partner that was dirty. And their ex-partner, you know, is mad because of the divorce and the fact that they remain divorced. You know, those could be things. Or, oh, this person, you know, they let somebody who wasn't ready to grow and like heal and evolve and wasn't ready to allow people to, you know, right their wrongs in that experience. You know, that's also a big room. There needs to be room for compassion and capacity, you know, to understand, like, is this really as huge as you make it? Because I feel like that's sometimes the issue in relationships too. And in spiritual auditing, that's one of the things that's looked at too. It's like, are you being compassionate to others? But then there's the opposite of that too, which it looks like the collective heal. Because let's see, there is a book. Hold on, I have a book of notes too. Your age. Oh, there it is. Okay, it says now okay, so your age. People are mad because you're younger than them, but you've figured out a lot of different things. They're still in an emotionally immature mindset. They still are operating from those lower vibrations. They're still operating from a place of pain and hurt and neglect. Some even misconceptualize neglect. Some people may see the way they were treated as a child and want to blame their parents, but not realizing like their bitterness to their parents actually caused them to be a bad parent, right? And they're mad because you figured it out. Now, how did you figure it out? And you're younger than me. How did you know to treat your kids right? Like, what? It's kind of weird, twisted understandings. because they felt like their parent failed them. So they wanted to believe that it was okay for them to fail their child too. They had no like regard for, again, for human life, no recognizance, no compassion for human life. Now, the reason why, then there's others who are mad at you, who are the same age or older, in the average age range or older, right? Who also are mad at you because you look younger, or maybe that you look more distinguished. Maybe you just look better. Maybe you're just more vibrant, and they're mad because you look younger than them, but you got it going on. You know what choices to make. It's really all about the fact that you know the right choices, but people think because you're this, because you're that, because you're young, because you're old, because you're light, because you're dark, because you're white, because you're black. No, that's not how it works, right? That was a huge part of what's in the Bible, and these people consider themselves to be religious, but they're ignoring the things that are clearly stated that, like, okay, even if you don't vibrate on a scale of religion, morality, that's really the issue, That's why we talk about all these Greek mythologists, because they were posing all of these things about morality. Socrates and all these things, like, if your wife and your daughter and your mother are all drowning in quicksand, which one do you save? It's that kind of thing. Like, people wanting to prey on that. It's like everybody will want to save everybody, right? They would want to save all three, right? Especially when you're younger. Now we're probably like, oh, maybe I'll save this one. And now, maybe. You know what I mean? Some people grow that way, but that's also part of the test too, is learning how to, when to forgive and when to say, okay, it's not my responsibility to save people. People have to learn how to swim on their own too. That's what I've been saying, and like the overdoing it. Like, people have to learn how to heal from being egotistical, but also people have to learn how to heal from being emotionally codependent as well as financially codependent. And that was one of the things that I'm grateful about. Like, I've never been financially codependent, but emotional codependency can be huge too. And I had to learn how to not do that too. And a lot of people want to say like, oh, this person is antisocial. No, my spiritual hygiene has to be kept because I want to keep it that way. I want to maintain and attract and involve myself with people who also keep similar spiritual hygiene. If I go just hanging out with everybody doing everything, then I am such, right? And then that's the thing too, like, when you go around a lot, people don't miss you. People don't get an opportunity to even enjoy the rarity of the experience of you too, which also makes, which also is a part of what people didn't realize too. It's like, oh, we kept these people set apart. They still ended up being so individual, on their own, that they shine so brightly, 37 on the clock. And that's thwarted everything we were doing as well, but anyway, so they want you to feel like you've been snaggled off your solo mission. They want you to be like, no, I'm not supposed to go into this union. And, even though you demolished, because I put murked here, but you demolished that solo mission. You already did that. And you know that. There may have been some things that you experienced or engaged in that you may not be so proud of, because you were in a certain energy to fulfill that mission. But the thing is how you fulfill that mission was coming out of that and getting into the upright. So again, like I said, Emperor in reverse. A lot of divine feminines who are now in their Empress energy, or their Hierophant, High Priestess energies, are acknowledging that, right? And a lot of divine masculines who are coming into Emperor in the upright, High Priest energies, Hierophant energies, are also acknowledging the same things, right? So, yeah, that's why you don't, you're not on a solo mission anymore. But that's also why they want you to they want you to throw in the towel on that. Because that's the only hope that they have. They can see already that there is no hope for any type of spell work that they do, because you're too protected at this point. You learned all your lessons, right? So now the only hope is that that you give up on yourself. Right? I think I gotta go get the other notes. So yeah, they're in that domino effect for sure. They're definitely in that domino effect right now. Ugh. Okay. Okay. So Okay, perfect spot. So the reason why you're on this other union, or on mission for union, is because this is the planetary activity right now. There's something to do with Neptune. So examine your Neptune. What's in Neptune for you? So look at your birth chart and see what's in your Neptune, and examine both the positive and negative aspects of that astrological sign. Also kind of look at the planetary activity and see what's lining up right now. If it feels like a retrograde energy, like where your technology is kind of like going crazy, or anything that if you're experiencing anything like that. That could be caused by planetary activity. Now, what's also taking place too is, and it's a part of your upgrade too, and you'll notice that, like, some of the things that you're looking at, like, oh, why is that happening? You're not really responding to stuff. You're just kind of recognizing things. You're like, oh, so a lot of things are like small indicators of where you're at, if you will, and showing you that, like, it's this perfection of thought. You've actually gotten out of your stinking thinking, and you have perfected thought, right? So anytime they send some type of like spell work that is supposed to take you off that, you quickly combat it, which makes you, it just is like you're, again, that cat-like instincts, that agility. It's like as soon as the negative thought comes, it's like, what are you talking about? That's stupid. So that's why they're that's why they're not effective. You know yourself. You know your own thoughts. You know your own thought process. So you're not able to be mind controlled by thought projections, which is what these cults tend to do, right? Anyway, I mean, look it up. CIA uses this kind of stuff. And when people are you no longer are concerned about somebody saying, oh, they're watching you, they're stalking you, they come by your house. This person is just spiritually trying to go by where they know you to be at in the ethers. This person is just trying to, I want to say electronically charge at you. But yes, but they're just trying to, which is why it comes up like so heavy in the reading sometimes, and you can feel the energy like, why is it that like that person is just, on their wackadoodle, off their meds, if you will. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but some people are making light of it themselves by not going and get psychological help, or not actually making sure that that friend that they know is this person that I'm talking about that goes and gets psychological help, or their partner is this person that needs a psychological eval, because it's really going to end up where they'll end up where we're talking about regardless, because fate is fate, which is what you guys see here. Anywho, but your perfection of thought is so amazing. This is what makes you quicker and more effective, because your life cycle of focused demonic defeats. So your life cycles of focused demonic defeats. So you remember that attachment I was telling you about, how they kept starting those cycles before they would end? You remain focused in each one, and were able to be on the mission of, okay, well, I'm finishing off this one here, and I can't even enjoy the celebration, and now I'm over here doing this. And that's what got you this capability, to the fact that, like, that's why you have the protection, because now it's like, what's the use? What is the use? This person is at max capacity. Again, we said that a while back. We said that in the summertime, but they weren't listening. Again, it's that whole, they thought that they could have people eluded because people weren't aware that they were on the fourth end of a double jeopardy. You know what I mean? But anyway, and I'll get into all the spell work and how spell works, because I understand not everybody is in the same space, and how to use kitchen magic, candle magic, negative, positive, hexes, unaliving dolls. There's a whole, the list goes on, but I haven't finished the research on that, but I will get there. Now, what you've realized is that they're going to continue to, because you're not out thoughting around, they're going to send you people, and you've never been. Like, they can go back in like the 20-year history, 30-year history, however, long back since you've been doing what you do. They can go back, and they can see that you're not that type of person. They spiritually went and invested. They had to open up other people's spiritual knowledge about you in order to get the clear understanding, a correct and concise understanding of everything. And that's what these people caused. And when they did, they looked through everything, and anything that came up, they brought it to you spiritually. And spiritually, you responded to that. And then they looked and they said, oh, that's true. Okay, clear here. You have gotten the spiritual bill of health that most people never even accomplish. And that's why you're being moved into this space that you are. But anyway, another part of this union is through Rosicrucianism, or Rosicrucianism. arranged marriage, it's divine technique. It's also a part of the Hermetic order, and it has something to do with the order of the golden dawn. Like it's a repetition, because history repeats itself, and whether or not you want to take this as history or not, I don't know, but you can look it up and do your own homework. So the Hermetic order of the golden dawn, you hold and will release the framework of a key element. So it's like you have the framework for a key element that does a lot of different things, because a key element for framework. So it's not like you have a key that comes once this is open, right? Because there are going to be people that get so much from you that it just continues to pour out, right? That's what legacy building does, right? It helps to benefit people by the knowledge of it, right? Okay, so what you hold is a key element of the framework. So the very, like, in order to even get this to work at all, you have to be a part of this. If you are not, it does not move forward. Okay. Yeah, your focus demonic defeats. You've defeated so many demons that there is not one that you don't understand, be it by way of attempted possession. You know what I mean? You were able to do that. These people sit in some type of, like, you're going to find that people are going to come back around because they're lonely, broke, or broken. And broke could be in another way, which is why I put broken, because now you can understand how one could be the other, right? Someone could be broke in energy of goodness in their life. Someone who's always happy, even if you're presenting them with bad news, they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know that that's something for me to worry about. So, you know what I mean? And you're being called to really evaluate everyone that comes into your energy. Read them first. And you are. As things are occurring, you're being taught, like, okay, I'm reading this person. Why am I reading this person? Because that's your call. That's your call to duty. Okay? You have to read everybody that comes into your energy, and then anyone who is assisting. You're now being honored with the task of, you can release information, because a lot of times on the walk, people are not allowed to help people in this way. We're not allowed to step in too. So you're being tasked with the opportunity to step in and help people to see. You are now being given that rite of passage, that those who come forward with the desire to gain your assistance, you are able to go ahead and give them the pieces of information that they need. So that's also why you're being told to evaluate everyone that comes into your energy and read them first. Your spiritual hygiene, you need to consider that too, because if you are, hey, like, I'm just, you know how spiritual hygiene works. Everybody that you have around you is a reflection of who you are. So just look at the behavior of your friends and the people that you keep your time with. You know what I mean? And then there was something that was downloaded to me, and it's just a question to pose to the collective. Like, why would the wealthy explore other planets? Why would they be exploring other planets? Have you ever thought about that? Why would wealthy people be exploring other planets? Why would they want to? That was another thing too, a download that I was understanding. Like, a lot of these different cities and states that are, you know, a part of these conglomerates where they hold all of these cults and these groups and, you know, affiliations. Part of that kind of clicking back to them is essentially the groups that came in to investigate this spiritual, what they called in, right? So the individuals that they called in spiritually to come and assess you for the spiritual auditing, by way of their spiritual auditing of you, they had to go look back at what was being presented by you. So the fact that someone was saying, oh yeah, this person did this and this person was like this, they would go back and evaluate your entire relationship with this person and say, well, where did this person ever show you that? Where did it? And that's when they started investigating the other people, and they were realizing, like, oh, wait a minute. And then when they started to look at the other people, they were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and take them in for the things that they've been doing. So now these things that these people have been doing in the dark, and by way of that, we mean, like, in the dark doesn't just mean like spell work, because spell work is also cheating. We see it's the low vibrational energies. It's the emotional immaturity that would cause you to do something that would hurt you or another person. Because of your lack of love for yourself, you would actually feel comfortable in a space of demeaning yourself or another person. You know, it's the open marriages. It's the cheating. It's the, you know, because I don't believe that people really feel full in an open marriage I'm just going to put it out there. Like, they were made for certain things. The marriages where they had multiple wives was maybe because one woman didn't, maybe there was a woman who didn't even like the, you know, the physical interaction. And she was like, I would prefer you just have someone else for that. And I stay because we already have these children together. And this is really a part of this that we built. It wasn't always like what people are making it out to be. And then a lot of these that we see, these people can't even, they lack the emotional maturity to be upright in one relationship. So their cop out a lot of the time is that they have these open marriages because they know deep down in their heart that they can't commit to fidelity, which we already understood is a part of the spiritual positive things that we should be. So these people who are like, yeah, I'm not trying to harp on anybody, I'm just saying those people who are outwardly like, yes, I have multiple women or multiple men, and we haven't opened this and we haven't opened that, that's fine. Everybody can do what they want to. There is free will, and that's what everybody is realizing too. These people who are like, oh well, we were coerced by these other people to understand this, about these rumors about this other people, and to spread this. No, you are in control of self, just like they are in control of self, right? This person had to be so much in control of themselves that they had to defeat the energetic force of so many, and spiritual forces of so many other people, and then also defend themselves in so many different ways. So because I feel like when you're being spiritually attacked, it presents itself here. So if they're trying to spiritually put you in jail, they're also trying to physically, you know, send negative energy to those people around you who respond negatively to you being your normal self, you being a good person. They get, you know, they have people that come around you, neighbors, co-workers, that just become envious. That is all of this demonic energy jumping from body to body. That's what people have been talking about too. Like, all people are talking about the demonic entities jumping from person to person. Yes, that's what they're meaning. That's what the projection of the energy is. That's how these groups work. Okay, we've discussed this though here. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, they can't put any, like, you've never been on any thoughting mission. You may have joked around because you thought it was funny, but I guess you make fun of things because you, I mean, that was your low vibration. You made fun of other people because of the fact that they would sleep around like that. People who were constantly, you know, people who have an OnlyFans. You know, I'm not even trying to pretend. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing no more. You know, because in reality, that is a low vibration. You are preying on a low vibration and the sexual demons that exist here on the planet. That's what OnlyFans and things like that is. That's what porn and stuff like that is. It's predatory energy. You know, it's a demonic entity that's being shifted throughout. You know, that's why people don't watch that kind of stuff. But anyway, but yeah, you've never been a thought, but you've made fun of stuff like that because, I guess, because you could never understand, like, why would someone, and you're grateful that you've never had to be in that experience either. So, because that would leave you in a broken energy. And so maybe that's why you never really looked towards that as like, oh, this is really an alternative that will take me to the next level, because you understood that, no, this is me going backwards, right? That would be me going backwards to go and be in that energetic vibration. And that's, I think, something that people didn't think about you too. And maybe you sat in this period of boredom for so long, because when you're being spiritually audited, you kind of are in a holding space, you know, while they evaluate, right? And so being able to even sit in that for the period of time that you did, because it's like 3-4 years or something, like it looks like, but or maybe even longer, because, well, 3-4 years of the, like, the double jeopardy kind of energy. But anyway, okay, why would the wealthy explore the planets? They've already done this in previous times, right? That's what we've been trying to explore and explain to other people too, through this spiritual understanding, is that we do exist. We do exist, you know, if you want to call it the Matrix, if you want to call it different, you know, galaxies, like however you want to look at aliens, you know, shapeshifters, this, that, the other, right? Vampires, da, 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 da. However you want to explain it, however you want to further examine it, right? These things are real. This is why the wealthy, but I want to also, you know, in my cautionary tale, you know, this imaginary, you know, hypotheses that I've arrived at, amongst other things, you know, like them, you know, my, you know, imaginary hypothesis, you know, of that they're building jails for Diddy. You know what I mean? Not for him to necessarily be in, but for the energy of said individuals to encompass. That's a part of, you know, all the cycles of abuse and traumatizing. And, you know, we've seen that, you know, there's always been some type of, you know, moral or ethical conglomerate, or, you know, energetic force working. Like, there's always something going on, right? It's like people are just now catching on to the fact that the music and the frequencies and this and that and the other, right? But they were never really paying attention to, like, well, how is this really making you feel? You know, and we're all subject to it, like, right? And that's the thing that I don't understand either, is because it's like, oh, most people would never be able to even live through what you did. So for people to look at you and like feel some type of shame or, you know, some type of ignorant response to the mass capability of you to defeat things that people who were the richest people on the planet at some points couldn't even defeat for themselves. Anyway, I think that's why I bring up such wealthy people, is because it's like they couldn't even defeat this. But, you know, whatever. So, okay. Yeah, they're also, you have to consider, like, okay, are these wealthy people doing this to try to build some type of technology or whatever for an evacuation because they know that the ascension is coming, they know that things are going to change? You know, are they trying to get somewhere and go somewhere else to another planet because they see and they know, they understand the history? You know, they Simpsons it out and understand what's about to happen next, and so they want to remove themselves. Now, be mindful too, because if these people who are in the cult, you guys are low level. All these people doing this to the people who other people are looking at like, oh, this person, how are they being attacked, and how is this happening on such a great scale? They got to get their own sacrifices, right? So while they may be promising this going to this other planet, to even some of these cults and these groups and these members and stuff, a life of like, what was it? The download was beware of contracts for a metaverse type scenario. So that's what some of these people in these communities have been offered, like some type of metaverse popularity, or I don't hear like grand theft or something. But in reality, what's happening is there is a real grand theft. Because the beware cautionary is that while they're being told they're going to be evacuated and taken to this new place, this new existence, this and that, they can clearly see that that's not happening, right? But that's also a part of it too. It's like if there is something that happens and they're like told, oh, you can evacuate, they're taking those people. Just beware of the tunnels, because you don't know where they go. They could be telling you they're taking you on some metaverse, like, oh yeah, you were in this such and such group, okay, yeah, you're supposed to go. I would be cautious. Because a lot of people, that's the thing, they're going after, what we're understanding is that they're going after the 144, the highest vibrational people that exist, right? The ones that are here to do things and change things. So, of course, they're going to have to bring forward a lot of individuals that they can, you know, for lack of a better word, sacrifice, you know? It's a part of this. You know, that's why things like, in my opinion, you know, my lofty adventures in my mind, you know, my unpopular opinion, my little, you know, unpopular opinion hypotheses of, you know, grand scale. That's for entertainment purposes, is that, you know, they do these things to continue to have this type of mind control. You can't deny that. Yeah. I think that's it for this, though. Yeah, so I'll end it there. Yeah, people should definitely be aware of contracts that they made for some type of metaverse scenario. That's more false than this. That's just, it's all false. So I can't say that one is more false than the other, because a part of this was, the whole part of this was to keep people in an illusion, right? To keep the Seven of Cups but it's like, okay, once you realized and got yourself cloaked and had on all the, you know, the right armor, if you're, you know, a Christian type individual, you weren't under any, you know, premise of that. There couldn't be, you surrendered to the right things. So you couldn't be sacrificed. It's just the reality of it. You continue to, especially now that you're understanding like what journey you are actually on, because that was a part of it too. That was a way of them trying to get you caught up in this last cycle. Was like, oh, okay, are you going to realize that you're actually on a journey towards unity in a, you know, in a soulmate position, whether that be business partner or love? Are you going to like acknowledge that and be willing to accept it? Or are you going to be, you know, the kind of person that can constantly fights it and debates it and pushes it away, you know? So anyway, that is what I have understood. I was going to do some of these because I haven't done these cards in a long time. And I just pulled them out of nowhere. So let's see. For some closing commentary from the I'm gonna take a little bit out of each section, do them, and then I'm gonna call it a day because I got stuff to do. Got stuff to do. Got stuff to do. What do we have? All right, I'll take it. Anything else for these cards for the collective? Please let it fall out. Two more. All right. I'm gonna take some more out of another stack and read them all once I'm finished with this. And I hope that this gives some clarity, knowledge. We're saying let it go. Okay. And I'm just going through this entire stack so that there's no bias of like me having pulled from a specific part of it that I put some cards in. So just understand that this is going to hold a lot of different energies. Maybe, you know, this is kind of like a grand scale understanding. Let's see if I forgot anything. I keep seeing the universe is on its way to you with all this stuff. There's all this good stuff. Okay, two more out of this, and all right, take those. Ooh, I keep seeing some stuff that like I think is a heavy download that is something I already said here. That, you know, if someone can see that there's a person around them that's suffering mentally from some instabilities and incapabilities to balance themselves and go in the right directions, which is what I think a lot of these groups are realizing, that some of their members don't have that capability. And so they're probably calling for some power of attorneys, or they're telling other people like, hey, I think you're going to need to call for a power of attorney because the group is, you know, pushing these people out. Ultimately, these people have been pushed out of the groups because, again, it's a part of that dominoes. So the fact that it's already been dominoed upwards and these people were told not to do what they kept doing, they know now that these people, an older couple, they know that now that these people are not going to stop. And that may be the plight of some of these people. They're connected to a spouse or somebody like that. There may be a Leo involved that is, you know, totally, you know, not following the rules spiritually, and, you know, that's causing these people to get caught up. The letter I may be significant, or the number 1. Death comes in 3s. Oh, wow. So maybe one of these people is going to be the first one to be, and sometimes, you know, the DEATH, you know, that's, you know, an execution from the group, you know. You don't always take it to mean like a literal, you know, physical ending on the planet, which sometimes, you know, might be more formidable or desired by some of these people who are going to experience a lot of, you know, turmoil because of what they've already prepared for themselves by being involved in such negative activity, or, you know, the association that they have with people. You know, you see how it works. You know, J-Lo is not the only, you know, J-Lo is being affected by Diddy, right? And it was so long ago, right? So, but you see how that works, right? So it's not, that's what's happening. It's like all this stuff that's in people's closets is coming out. Stuff is coming out of the closets is what I understand. All right, this is the first one. Time is of the essence, okay? The cult has turned on a few people in order to cut losses properly. I just said that. So, and you guys saw how I shuffled through this whole entire stack, okay? You need to amplify your worth, okay? So go ahead and raise that vibration. It's time to move on, okay? Friday, maybe, you know, today's, what, Saturday, so maybe you realized that yesterday, or some people have come to realize or gone to realize that. Success, public recognition, progress, self-confidence. You're in your victory lap is what I'm understanding. So even though you're still walking, you're walking your victory lap so that everybody can see you. And so it's just going to take its time so that you can walk around Mother Nature. Okay, maybe you need to get out into nature or something like that. Yeah, enjoy everything, but stay grounded. So make sure in this season when you're reaching these heights, like, enjoy everything that you're receiving because you deserve it. Do not have any survivor's remorse or anything like that, or I had to leave these people behind. It would really be nice to have this person here. Just remember that, like, this is where you are for a reason. The reason why those people aren't here is for a reason, you know, however that comes up for you. Because it may be just you even missing friends, like you and your new person, you know, or maybe you had always imagined opening a business with your best friend, but because of, you know, their energy and who they are, you know, vibrationally and energetically, you know, spiritually, you can't be connected with that person, you know, because time is of the essence. You have to move forward. You can't be, you know, stuck. Anyway, he likes getting lipstick or lip gloss from your lips. So yes, there is definitely soulmate energy of, you know, a harmonious love relationship. Maybe there, you know, where there was none previously in the past relationships, you were doing that and you were receiving that. Oh, nice. We're doing it and receiving it. Nice. You are organized, and that's key. Okay, it's your turn now. Again, you may have even watched people sit and flaunt and pretend like, oh, well, I'm married and this person isn't, and oh, I'm this and this person isn't, and oh, I'm that and this person isn't. And they were all false realities. And you had to spiritually sit back and be like, well, I'm of the caliber to be all of these things in the upright. It's just something else has been at play. And maybe even affiliation for some people, like affiliation with people they had no, essentially that's all what it boils down to, right? Keeping connections where you shouldn't have. But anyway, nothing they are doing against you is working. I already said that. So they need to learn to move on, because you are completely unbothered. People are mocking them to their face. Okay, another reason for them to move on. The initials D, I, N, or S could be significant. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, stay unbothered. Definitely stay unbothered. Something is going on behind the scenes. Okay, someone is rolling over on them. Basically, there's a rat in the group. Okay, their engagement or marriage is fake, side piece only. So, like I said before, there are a lot of people whose marriages are falling apart in front of other people. They were falling apart in the background all this time, but they were pretending with their partner like it was good because they were in this low vibrational energy to even want to be in that type of relationship anyway. Anyway, the initials S, B, P, I, or K could be significant. May even be some people who are acknowledging the fact that their partner is same sex and their partner is like, you know, just not even caring anymore and spending all their time with the other person. But anyway, someone keeps saying that you're lying on them, but you didn't know it was them. Someone keeps saying that you're lying on them, but you didn't know it was them. Oh, so somebody's trying to say like, oh, this person is lying on me and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you're not actually lying. You're telling the truth. And you didn't even know that it was them in the first place. So they're telling on themselves is what I'm understanding. Yeah. Yeah, people are starting to see that now. So compassion is being shown to you by other people that are coming to acknowledge this. Yeah, somebody's going to get the brakes beat off of them and when they go to be incarcerated. Getting the brakes beat off them. That person isn't being truthful. Yep. See, I told you. Someone keeps saying that you're lying on them, but you didn't know it was them. Like, number one, you didn't know it was them, and they are lying. So just to reiterate, that person isn't being truthful. It could be this copycat energy. The copycat is looking quite unfamiliar right now, unrecognizable. People are like, this isn't even who you presented yourself to be. Now they're seeing this person's true colors, because I'm hearing the song, true colors shining through. They've been faced with lots of scrutiny and eventual turn downs from anyone that they reach out to for anything. Yep, it's that time. It's that time. They saw that already, but they thought in that last loop-de-loo that they did maybe last year or something that it was going to pan out, and by summertime it didn't exist, and so now that's why they're being so totally caught up. Someone is working against you. Yep, they don't know that they have someone that's working against them within their own group. And there's someone else that needs to take a risk. Maybe someone else is wondering like, well, should I make my move now? Should I go ahead and just, you know, I'm hearing plead guilty or get a plea agreement or something like that. Go confess or something like that. Yeah, someone needs to take that risk. That's crazy. I don't even know what that download is about. But hey, well, I do, because people got themselves caught up. But anyway, hanging out with scammers will likely get you scammed. So a lot of people are realizing that too. It's like, even though they weren't partaking in this person's scams on, like, you know, whatever scams they were doing in the community, they were hanging out with this person, knowing that this person was scamming others, and being comfortable to be in that person's energy, be in that person's you know, proximity to hang out with them, to celebrate, go party, you know, go on vacations, you know, go out to lunch, you know, meet up and chat on the phone and whatever, you know. But anyway, the government has their case on your behalf, and you will have additional legal suits for civil suits. Because again, a lot of these things that these people are doing involved in these RICO crimes and stuff like that. There are 3+ people involved that you have additional civil suits against. The number of laws that they broke to harass and stalk you is criminal. So the things that they did were criminal acts. And because they likely had someone put the law on you, again, it was put back on them, not only in the physical, but in the spiritual. So the fact that they did it spiritually, when you put it back on them spiritually, and you started standing up for yourself spiritually, the same thing took effect here in the physical. And some of you may have even taken legal steps, you know, to protect yourself. And because of that, it's actually stamping. Because again, remember, there's things you have to do on the planet too, not just ritualistic things, but also actual things, you know, to combat what's being done. It's like if you're standing in front of the jury, are you not going to go and try to collect evidence to prove your innocence? And that's what you've pretty much done. To other people, it may have looked like you were just sitting there and you were uninvolved, but it was because you knew that part of this would be proven over time just by the truth of your existence, right? And then the other part of that would be proven through what you continue to do throughout that time, okay? Because which is live your life, you know, continue to, you know, go be great. Anyway, they're not going to do well in life. Their bad karma is huge right now. They're mentally unstable. They need a psychiatric evaluation. They know that they're weak. You know, they are stressed out about being seen in that way, or having to acknowledge that about themselves. There's a spiritual union that I've been talking about. The love daddy gives mommy each day makes me grow strong and healthy. They are always expressing their love. So if any of you are out there with child already experiencing that, or to experience that in the future, that's a spirit baby message. You will see countries recognize individuals as highly... You will see countries recognize specific individuals as highly esteemed and as allies for the good work they will, are, or can do for them. So there's some type of affiliation that some people will receive from certain countries. So 1111 was on the clock when I was saying that, when I understood the message. So this is basically saying that some people in the collective are going to be dignitaries, are going to be honored, where they will be delegates from whatever country they represent to go out and, you know, resolve other conflicts with other countries, okay? Maybe there's a Scorpio or Scorpio energy involved. It's you two are insatiable for one another. Still, I feel like this is coming from a union, right? Because it's coming out with the spirit baby message. And that's also what's making these people mentally unstable. You know, these attention-seeking people that are having major money problems. So maybe they were pretending like they were small, and you shall soon see why. Yeah, you'll soon see why you maybe have been in this, like, Four of Cups is bored, you know, kind of dissatisfied with all the people around you and what's being offered, you know, while people were saying that you were being antisocial, or they had trapped you in this mental, you know, plague or whatever it is, or you were lost in some type of spell and that their spell work was working or whatever it is. In reality, you were learning how to, because to me, boredom is the borderline energy that leads to every other negative energy. So as soon as an individual gets bored, and it kind of correlates with that whole biblical sense of like idle hands, you know, are the devil's plaything. So that's how I understand it to be. Because if you look at the scale of energetic vibrations, boredom is that borderline one. Maybe that's why it starts with bore. But anyway, it's the borderline one from, you know, dom or more, is what I'm understanding. So anyway, someone will have to live off of cat food for a while in their old age to keep all of their bills paid and stay afloat. Or afloat. Afoot. Yeah, this is someone who was, you know, caught up in a lot of darkness. They you know, is a part of this betrayal energy, 11313. They kind of want to like hold you captive. They wanted you to be theirs and only theirs. Oh no, this is your new person. They want you to be theirs and only theirs. Yeah. Your new person is basically covering up all of that betrayal and darkness that you experience. And that basically this union is going to keep you away from being bored. It's kind of like as soon as you start to get bored, there's something that happens with your person that causes them to need your attention. And then you once again are all of a sudden on this new beautiful cycle. So it's like in your relationship, as soon as you hit this baseline level, as soon as you start to approach this boredom level, you now have a partnership that keeps you out of that emotion. So that's really great that this partnership actually keeps you free from reaching the lower vibrations that exist. That's awesome. That's huge. That's really significant. How that's huge. That's really significant. Like, how can a connection with somebody actually keep me from boredom, keep me from, this, lack of proper existence? But it does. It's that's what comes with being fully healed, right? Finding all the missing puzzle pieces, but you've worked hard to receive that and achieve it, right? Even under unnecessary circumstances. So this double cycles of double jeopardy is what I'm understanding. Yeah, which basically they didn't get anything out of it. If you look back, it's like, oh, you went on a cruise. Oh, you had a purse. But it's like, it's all past tense. They really weren't feeling good in those energies that they were in because they had to do some of those things and buy those things to actually present to other people. It wasn't really for themselves to be fulfilled. They would have rather been doing something else or receiving something else. Just the same reason why a lot of these people feel like, oh, I took your divine partner. It's like, if they were actually my divine partner this lifetime, then, because some people are living this Viking mindset. If they were really my divine partner or who I'm supposed to be with this lifetime, then I would have been with them. So they're, that's another part of these illusions being broken for people. And then they're disgruntled even more because it's like, oh, I thought I won. It's like, you did. You got what you wanted. That was what you were fighting for this lifetime. And I was just smart enough to know that it wasn't worth anything. And so I let you have it and let you think that you were winning. In the whole while, I was just kind of holding my position for what I knew I wanted. So this group is responsible for multiple unalivings. That is how they convince these sheep minion community members. So all those lock-de-loos, all those lock-de-laws. Anyway, love spells have definitely backfired. Yeah. So people who thought they were getting you caught up and getting you, obsessed with them are now obsessed with you. And that's why I said people need to really, like, I'm being honest. If you are constantly caught up in some type, and it's not a positive, it's if you're, constantly thinking negative about someone or yourself, you need to go seek psychological evaluation. Now, if you are constantly thinking positive about someone else and you are concerned about it, you need to concern yourself about why you're concerned about thinking positive. That's crazy. That's spell work. So get out of that. That's a part of love spells. But those are backfiring. So the karmic is confessing what they know about everyone involved for a plea deal. That's a lot of, this is a huge stack of cards, guys, to have gone through to kind of keep getting repetitive information and presentations here. Celebrate. You're in this celebration energy. 111. Go look it up. It's not likely that this person is sane, not mentally stable. I just said that again. This is coming out a lot in here. People are cussing them out when your names come out their mouth. So now, and not very well so, because people shouldn't have your name in their mouth. They know that too. And so now it's like every time it comes out their mouth, they're, those little, like, their breath smells like doo-doo, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things. People are like just off-put because when they open their mouth and they're about to say something about you, people can smell the horribleness of their insides and who they truly are coming out of their mouth before they even speak these negative words. And people are offended and oftentimes assaulted by their breath so much that they're like, like, I gotta go. People are cutting them off as soon as, because they see them coming with the drama. So, or people are like cussing them out. Like if people come in and hear them like, dang, you ain't got nothing else better than you always coming around here with this and this, because they know that like this person is only here to like start drama somewhere, and people are picking up on that, and people are like, I got my own life to live. I'm not gonna be dragged into your karma by sitting here listening to you badmouth somebody else and be like, that's crazy. People are realizing like that's getting them caught up too, because you over here and somebody being wrong. Anyway, on the big scale and the little scale. Anyway, these come in threes. Endings. In any way, whatever way, shape, or form they're supposed to be. Some things are meant to be. Take it how it resonates. Either the endings or the beginnings or both. Okay? You are on my mind is what your person is saying. Someone else though is maybe like the more you concentrate on your person, the more these other people have physical illness, because that's what they wanted for you. Like when they were sending you the love spells to make you think about them, but then also going and doing these other spells with another spell worker to cause you physical illness when you would think about them. So that's also a part of the stuff that they didn't realize. Like, you can't, what are you thinking? I'm gonna do this spell work to make you, I'm gonna do a love spell with this practitioner to make you love me. And then I'm gonna go out here and do this other one that as soon as you think about me, that it makes you, you know, this, that, and the other. These people are so convoluted, but that's why they're experiencing the things that they're experiencing. You know, some of these people sent pedophilia to you, wanting you to, you know, harm your children, and you had to, you know, be able to see and recognize that and understand, like, wait a minute, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know, it's a lot. You know, I'm not saying that any of the collective would even look at that, but it's kind of like they send these demonic energies and entities. These are all demonic oppressions, you know, just like they want to send you the energy of you, you know, trying to off yourself, to end your life. You know, you're not worth it. You're worthless. You're this, you're that. They might send you the energy where you're always looking at your daughter's boobs, constantly looking at your daughter's boobs. And you're like, why the fuck am I looking at, excuse my language, but why am I looking at my daughter's boobs? You know what I mean? Or why am I looking at this little kid's boobs? You know, even if you don't have a daughter, divine masculine may have you constant, and you're like, why is that energy even present? Because they're sending their pedophilia energy towards you. Because someone in their, you know, higher up in their group has that energy, and they're using the energy of the group to combat you. That's what they've always been doing. That's how people end up in jail for stuff they never even, you know, involve themselves in. And then they wonder how the minds of these people, and that was, okay, that's the other down. The download, I was watching a documentary about a man who was in jail, and he was sitting before a judge, and he was pleading for like some early release or whatever, or, you know, probation, or I don't know, whatever. He was petitioning it, and he had basically, I think he had like SA'd or SM'd his girlfriend's children, but then he had his own children. And he kept petitioning to the court, like, yeah, I want to be there for my children because I have a daughter and this and that and this and that. And I need to make sure I'm there for her. And that's why I should be out. And he kept petitioning this information. And anytime they would bring it to the crime that he committed, which was, you know, MDKing this girlfriend's children, they were like, you keep petitioning us. It was like a total separation. He was like, yeah, I know I did that. Yeah, I know I did that. Yeah, I understand it was like something that I did to kind of just, you know, be mean and evil towards the girlfriend that I had. But I want you to understand, like, okay, that was just because of her. It was really that energy that they were trying to present off. Like, it was just because this person was in my life and I was in a relationship with them. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's just because I was in a relationship with this person, which is partially true. Everybody has to understand you end up in karmic energy because you want to be there. It's yours. The people that you get attached to, you can't blame them for the way that you behave in response to the situations that you put yourself in, especially when it's something like this. It's like, it's just a sick mind of, you know, these type of people. That's what people are realizing. Like, these minds are all the same. They compartmentalize. If you cut off the fact that you're doing evil over here because you want to look good over here, that is the mind of a person who is imbalanced, who is mentally imbalanced, whose temperament is off. Okay. Anyway, someone is writhing with grief and angst, trying to stay busy to hide it daily. Yeah, that was also a download too. Someone is really like, the things they talk about sometimes come off as nonsense to other people around them, or they seem very chatty when they weren't, and like just different things. And they're not known to be a chatty person. And it's like the things that they're talking about are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, you know, that's the next thing I'm gonna do is this. You know, they're trying to manifest because they no longer have that capability. And so they're trying to stay busy by putting this out there in front of other people, and other people are looking at it like, nah, man, you already presented yourself. Like, we've seen what you do. Some people are, you know, we've seen what you do. People have been seen. Oh, they didn't see the bigger picture. Hard pill to swallow. These fell down, and then this one came up. Okay. You've been inspired to attain financial success. You've obtained some type of skill development and the ability to manifest in a specific way. Someone's elderly father or mother and grandma will be visited by investigators, but they cannot speak to their family their family member that's being investigated. So that came out a while ago. Expect powerful change. Let's see. Mission complete. It's got green writing, and that's green. Accessory to a crime. Someone who knowingly initiates or assists in the commission or concealment of a crime without participation. So it's like, you know, you just not saying anything about it. You can receive up to 3 years in prison, 3 or more years in prison. Okay. For the divine beings, journal your dreams if you can. Okay. There's a new idea in there. Wow. That's awesome. And you're being asked again to just observe people when they come back into your energy. Don't allow anyone in, just observe them. These people are confused and contemplating and trying to see maybe even what you're contemplating. You've already fallen in love with your person, and that's okay. Maybe that's something they are even trying to see, like, whoa, you know, because that's a part of being able to stop it, is if you're not in love with your person, then they can leave you confused and contemplating whether or not this is your person. But if you've already fallen in love, that's your sign. And because it's okay that you're supposed to. It's that Y-O-U-V. I have never fixed that. Because it's like it's in other languages. Every language that you've even tried to look at it, you see nothing but love, that you've already falling in love. Anyway, your family is involved for sure. Okay. Maybe that's a lesson you've learned. They are all under an illusion and spell if they think that they can get out of their karma or get out of whatever it is that they sent. They have to continue on in their own pathway. That's what they're, you know, under an illusion about, is if they think that they can come back, jump back and be like, oh, this happened, or oh, I wasn't able to this, or oh, I need help because of this. That is an illusion. They cannot do that. You are not under their spell work anymore. And if they think they can't, they cannot. Okay. Kisses on demand, like you're gonna be busy working on that. You won't even have time to be bothered with their requests and their illusions, you know, or with people wanting to apologize to you. Again, it's not your responsibility. You will accept apologies, you know, because why not, right? Someone wants to give them, go for it. Your new friends are also elevating too, so that's a great accomplishment. It's like, because you heal, your friends heal too, right? Maybe the FTC is involved now. And pushing out their part or presenting their part, because again, I believe that what's happening here is the same as what has happened with Diddy. That's why I keep referencing him too, is because you see they stacked up all the evidence and they just went and arrested him, and now you're in court. That's what they're doing with these people too, stacking up everything, building up the case, presenting all the information, and then you appear in court because now you're arrested and you have to make sense of this. Okay, whatever they're doing won't work. Like, it won't work. Whatever they're doing to try to get out of jail and like get out of these legal situations, whatever they're trying to do, it won't work. Whatever it is, it won't work. Okay. Remain positive regardless, right? Because they're going to try to have things appear certain ways too. Again, all this negative thought projection. They still want to do that. You walk your walk, and people always question that. Like, you always accept what it is that you're here to do. And people always question. Like, but why? Why do they question? It's not their walk. Why are they even looking in your direction? Like, what is the purpose? Yeah, they keep coming up blank in their own lives. That's the thing. It's like you come up blank about what you can do in result to this other person's life, and then you come up blank with what you've even accomplished in your own life because you spent so much time trying to be against this other person. This harassment. A lot of these people are going down just being part of this harassment, you know, constantly stalking, looking, talking, backbiting, all of this. Because what happens is people know it's on record somewhere, like what they need to do to make the spell work. Someone had it in writing what they had to do to make the spell work, right? And the people that they involved in that are being put in this 3+ years because of the harassment. They were involved in harassment. Somebody is full of it. If there's somebody out there telling you like, no, that's not what's happening, that can't be true, blah, blah, look it up for yourself. I already looked it up. Okay, this is going on in the background, and a lot of you people don't know about it. You know, all of this demonic energy is trying to take over all these other people now because they can't do anything with you. One of these people is somebody that somebody else used to live with. Narc. You know, back when I was younger in high school, we used to call police officers like snitches narcs. Like, you narked on me. And I don't know if it's spelled the same way, but that's the energy that I got. That somebody else used to live with is now telling on everybody else. And that could be a couple of different scenarios. Maybe there's a Leo involved in this. Staying focused is going to be paramount right now. So you being focused on your, you know, charge, and all these other people being focused on the right direction is paramount for them too. Because if they don't get this right, they're looking at a lot of stuff. Some people have to walk their plank anyway, but anyway, you'll know when it's time for you to make your move, right? He or she is messing around with someone of the same sex. See, that came out earlier out of my mouth, but that's the truth. Is someone has realized that like they need to leave their marriage because their person is messing around with someone of the same sex, and they're not being honest about it. Is that part of it? And that's also part of you staying in a relationship where you accept a third party is a part of a curse. Anyway, so you have to divorce if you don't want to be cursed. You know what I mean? Anyway, the hitman has finished his statement and interviewed with the feds. Oh, so maybe it's the hitman that's communicated, because it says the hitman has finished his statement and interviewed with the feds. Continue to fight the good fight. So somebody's being encouraged to like keep going. Maybe it's this hitman energy who's watching. Just listen from this point on. Like just listen, observe. I said that. It was meant to be this way. Don't even feel any type of way for having to say the things that you have to say, because essentially you are doing the right thing. And everything that you've done in the past is likely to be forgiven when you actually make efforts to do the right thing. Like that's your step. Those are the ways to be forgiven, is to make things right. You know, and again, it just depends on, we don't get to weigh the scales. God does that. So when you present this, you know, when you do the right thing, God gets to say, okay, you're completely relinquished, or okay, do a little bit more over here, or do this over here, and do this over here. We don't decide that, but it's, again, I would always make an effort to make my scales balanced. Okay, I would always try to be, because you never know what past life things it is that you're supposed to learn. Like there are reasons why you decide not to go ahead and, you know, write a fake check to yourself and go withdraw it from your bank account, because you know that that's fraud. You know that it'll get you caught up. You're not without thought. You know what I mean? Anyway, because you're here to accomplish so much more. Spirit's saying get an oracle card to end this out. I'm going to take the first one that I see. Meditation, solitude, and consciousness. So this is all a part of, yeah, it's something to do with that. Yep, that's related to it. Yep. Maybe there's some people who are related to you where I guess they're realizing, like, they're like, oh well, this is what we have to face. This is what we have to do. Yeah. This person was a liar. This person, like, maybe that's what your family may be saying to somebody else, is like, oh well. And they're like, you're a liar. And then your family's like, oh well. You can go sit, meditate on that. But the fact of the matter is, like, this person was a liar too. So it's kind of like the kettle calling the pot black, is what they say. Anyway, there's maybe this is some people who are involved in food stamp fraud, PPP loan fraud, or insurance fraud. Maybe all of the above. Initials F, K, S, or T could be significant. L, E, or H could be significant initials. Or Leah. Confess your love. So this person, maybe there's someone with these initials, even though they're hoping you confess your love to them, or that's another way of getting you trapped into a cycle, is if you say, oh no, I really love you and blah blah blah. Like, you have to cut off all those emotions, because it's a severance. So if that's, I don't know, maybe that's something somebody needed to know. They are afraid for their lives, but they cannot withstand what's returning to them. Yeah, because that's a part of this love spell too. Energy is confessing your love. Like, you're supposed to confess your love in the right places, to the person that you know to be upright, to, you know, the new circumstances, the new and improved way of living, not anything or anyone from your past. Anyway, association is the common thread. Even mental association is considered. You think it, you thought it. Associations run in line with collaboration at times. Someone crossed the line too many times. So it basically, this is all of how they're all coming together. It's the association. It's the common thread. It's all of this. All the dots have been put together. Like I said, the whole case is being presented already. It's, if other people are, like, again, other people are probably behind bars and we don't even know about it, because we don't care to be involved in what's happening to everybody outside of us, right? Anyway, they don't even know what they're envious of. They don't even know what they're mad at, because they felt like they had everything, right? Well, we got this from them and we tricked them out of this and we did this. But it's like, well, wait a minute, what are we mad at if we actually didn't? Like, wait a minute, if we got it, then they don't even know what they're jealous of. It's crazy. I'm still confused, right? Because I was supposed to relay the message about what they're envious of, and I couldn't find out, because they really don't know what they're envious of. They don't know why they're jealous of you. They're sour about everything. Oh, that's why. They're just sour about everything. Again, I want this guy. They got the guy. Or they got the girl. Whatever it is. Still not happy. They're sour about everything. Don't isolate yourself too much. So in this new phase, you are going to definitely go out. And I think you're looking forward to that. You're super excited about making sure that you kept this spiritual hygiene to be able to be with the right people, okay, to have the right contracts. Okay, anyway, the blocking spells have put them in quicksand. So any blocking spells they did against you have put them in this quicksand energy. Yep, they came up empty on that one too. Yep, if you're reading this, it's too late. It's coming back to you, both of you. maybe two people did that together. Someone is lying to all of their friends about the karma that they are feeling. So people are like getting it, and they're not like being honest and truthful about what's happening behind the scenes. They could be, or your initials could be I, T, O, or B. And don't be afraid of what's ahead. Yeah, that's also a thing. They want you to think somebody's like watching you, and like if they what they're really doing is trying to astral project to you. So when they say somebody's stalking you day and night, they might be looking at your social media and stuff like that, and creating fake pages and all the rest of that good stuff, because it kind of goes in line with the spiritual work, right? Got to work in all these different dimensions. But what they don't realize is that they cannot come towards you. Like that's also a thing too. Like a lot of the reason why these people take this route and do all of things behind the scenes is because they know they can't come towards you directly. Now, another reason why they're not getting away with this is because they weren't honest. So that's the reason why sometimes people can get other people caught up, is because they tell you right to your face, like, this is, you know, like they say with this music and stuff, there are a lot of different stars and artists that are coming out, and they will purposely tell you, like, I worship the devil and blah, 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 blah. That's a part of being honest. So a lot of the reasons why these people didn't get away with certain things too is because they weren't honest with you about what they were really doing, and they continue to lie when you confronted them too. So, ooh, I don't know where all that noise and energy is coming from, but yeah. So let's do these last few, and we are out of here. I honor my self-worth by asking for what I want. Yeah, you are capable of asking the universe for what you want, because that is honoring your self-worth. Some people feel like, wait, this came right when this happened so quickly. You know, I just acknowledged and let go of the person that I was with. How could this really be, you know, the moment for me? Because you acknowledge and you let go of the past person. So that's why it's being presented to you like the perfect opportunity in life and whatnot. Anyway, all is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. All right. I hope this has been helpful and insightful in some way, shape, or form, and has helped you to understand the spiritual, I want to call it arbitration, but the spell work and the, you know, the spiritual, what is this called that I was just talking about? Because there's so many spiritual aspects and parts and modalities, and you know, there's breath work, but this is a part of the spiritual auditing that is pretty much over. The spiritual auditing is what led to these people being, you know, caught up in the circumstances that they are now. So watch the tide turn. As this tide turner, don't forget to look up the stuff in your Neptune, I think it was, and do that within this moon cycle. Again, the 23rd through the 26th are the heighted moments, but you can start at any day and kind of get it out of the way and already have your requests out there to the universe or to creation and whatnot. I hope this has been helpful and insightful in some way, shape, or form. Somebody wants me to pull out astro signs on this. All right. I don't know why, because essentially people are, and that's another download too. So yeah, I'm not going to do it, because people have to realize, like, if someone is focused on their North Node, or they're focused on their Neptune, or they're focused on their Pluto, or they're focused on this, they might not even come off as the energy that you know them to be, their sign. And that's why I don't really do all the signs so much, is because people can, like, there's someone who is really famous that is a Capricorn, and they have all of this Pisces aspected in their chart, and they come off in readings as Pisces energy because it's aspected in like all these places. They come off more so like a Pisces. And so someone may be sitting there hearing all of this negative stuff about them, and they're the Pisces involved in the situation, like that's their sun sign, but really it's this Capricorn who has all of this Pisces and water activity in their chart, and they resonate with it. They live in this emotional, you know, state, but it's coming off as a Pisces because that's what the person responds in. They're just emotional, you know, roller coaster. So that's why I don't do the signs like that, because it, again, if you are a master magician too, you can embody all of these, which you should be in and out of them. That's why they all exist in your astrological chart, because I'm looking a lot more into astrology now, but that's why it appears in your astrological chart, because a part of it has to do with your past lives and your lessons that you need to learn as well. Some people can get their astrological chart read and it can clearly say, like, oh, you had issues in the past you know, I had someone who was, and she seemed like she was like a gypsy energy, and I'm not pretending, because even her dressing and the way she lived her life, you could tell she was gypsy. And she looked at my chart really quick for me one day, because we were in the same store. I was working in the store as a reader, and she was coming in trying to be an astrologist in there. And so I had my chart, so she looked at it, and she was like, oh yeah, your only issue is that you chose the wrong lovers in your past life. And I was like, oh, okay. I already know that, and I've already started working on the character traits, the demonic entities, if you will, the inherited curses and hexes and things like that. I had already started to evaluate those and how they were affecting me to make me look at certain things and choose the wrong people, and also placing the wrong significance on certain things. Like some people have a mixed understanding, and they see it as being okay if someone has to choose a lifestyle of promiscuity, meaning being a prostitute, but then they also want to diminish someone else for if they were, I don't know. It's just like all of this misconceptions and misevaluations, but essentially that's, you know, a thing of the past. That's what the spiritual auditing has done. It's revealed who was actually in the wrong spiritual and physical sets, period. A lot of these people were insexed too. And that's a lot of the reason why these people are being banished from these groups, because it's like, there's no way. They had to spiritually audit their own people. And when you come up spiritually not well, they have to let them go, because otherwise it will continue to bring the group down. Like it's a part of that. It is a part of like the ruins. It is a part of them falling, you know, down, of the group becoming, you know, victims, you know, to all kinds of different circumstances that will turn these groups into, you know, it's kind of like, I believe that the understanding somewhere that I read it, and it could be totally wrong, but let's even just hypothesize. What if, for instance, the Illuminati started out as a good group, and what if the Vikings were initially a good group? They were actually together to try to do well and go, and, you know, they went out to try to barter and meet new people and, you know, see what they could do. But then in the process, people got jealous of other people on the same team as them, and we're like, okay, well, we're going to go out and start, you know, where we keep getting no's and they keep getting yeses, so we got to bring back some yeses, so we just going to take over. And that's how the mix, because I looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, not everybody, I believe, was actually in on that same energy. And that's why some people from past lives have a misconception, because they want to, like, you know, present this energy from past lives here, and they can't do that. They're trying to spiritually attack you from a past life, when in actuality, this lifetime is the life that we're actually supposed to heal and evolve from the past life issues. And because they keep holding the grudges, that's what ends up keeping them stuck in the cycles. All right, I hope this has been helpful and insightful, some type of way, shape, or form. I will catch you on the next one later.